Hey guys, future editing Vanessa here, and I just wanted to let you know we did have some audio issues with this episode. I think they should be fine, but if you hear anything, I'm just going to apologize now. Okay, hope you guys love the Breaking Down Breakdown. Bye!
Welcome to Savor the Story podcast, where books and snacks are life. I'm Nicole, this is Vanessa, and
Hello.
Now can I say is bonus
Yes.
fights for
5. It's not
5.
bonus fights 4.
Goodness me.
It is the Twilight finale.
I just want to get it out of the way early of what everybody can expect from this episode from me. Just nobody knows what's going on.
No.
Everything
Also,
is wrong.
Good fucking riddance to Twilight is what I have to say.
Yes.
I hope you guys are all ready to hear our thoughts on this part 2.
So that way we can be done forever.
Done
and never
forever.
speak of it again.
We might speak of it again, but but it won't be in depth.
Okay. It will not become our Lord Voldemort.
That's right.
All right, fine. Though I think I will start rating heroines in degrees of annoying as Bellas.
Okay, as opposed to Bella's. Great.
This book has
we know
3 Bellas.
Basically, if they're really fucking terrible, it's 5 Bellas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
So
that's fair.
I feel like I need this. Everyone needs this.
Yeah. So because it's our last one, normally what we have been doing for the other episodes is we start the episode by talking about how we watched the previous movie. But we already talked about part 1 in part 1 because we happened to watch it 10 minutes after you finished the book. And in this one, we haven't had a chance to do it. And since we're not going to talk about it again, I'm going to just say a couple of things about the movie, and then you and I will watch it eventually.
Oh, yeah, in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it.
But one thing that I wanted to tell you about, so in the end of part 1, we do see a glimpse of Renesmee, and you kind of see how fucking creepy she looks.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait until you see part 2 because it is wild how terrible she is. But what I wanted to bring up is, and I'm going to put pictures in, I kind of don't want you to see them until you see the movie.
Okay. So don't look at our bonus bites.
Yeah, so you don't look at the video.
Okay.
But in the video, I am going to put up in the middle here a picture because they started Renesmee off as an animatronic doll. And she was so terrible that the people on set named her Chuck-esmee after Chucky the doll because she was so fucking creepy. Some of the actors refused to work with it. Like,
really?
it was really, really bad. And so I have to give you this quote. So the director of this movie, he said, Chuck-esmee was a giant misfire on all fronts. Truly, it was one of the most grotesque things I've ever seen. It was a horror show. There was one shot where I call cut, and suddenly she turned her head and mechanically stared directly into the camera. It was incredibly disturbing.
What happened to this doll after the movie?
Oh, it's in like a museum. Like, I have a picture of it currently. It's like in a glass doll case or whatever, and it looks like the creepiest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, her face is like melting. Like, it's so bad. So they ended up just doing full CGI, but because it was a last minute, because they thought they were moving forward with this doll, and when they finally got to filming and realized that this doll didn't work, they had to like pull in some extra budget for CGI. It's so bad. It's like it takes away from the movie for sure. Like, because it's so bad. So I really can't wait for you to see the movie and the pictures.
Man, this makes me have so many more questions to follow up with. Like, after they decided to not use the doll, did they still use the doll as a placeholder?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's just like,
I don't think so. Maybe
I'd have to use a child, like an actual child's body.
I don't know.
Man.
I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you one picture. I'm going to text it to you right now so you can see just her face.
Okay.
Of Renesmee. And you can see how fucking creepy it is. I will put it up in the picture right here.
I wish I never saw that.
Now you know why the actors were like, I will not work with this.
That is horrifying. Oh my God. Oh,
not what you were expecting, right?
My whole body like erupted in like fucking tingles, like goosebumps. That's so creepy.
So bad. And it was animatronic, so it would just like move on its own. Weird. So anyways, that's what we have to look forward to.
I 1000% understand why nobody wanted to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Good call, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that doll has to be haunting a museum somewhere.
For sure.
That's why I wanted to know. Like, we're not going to say her name 3 times and she's going to appear tonight over my bed. Like,
she might. No. She might. Oh, it's really bad. So anyways, so there's that. I just really thought it was hilarious reading all the stories about how the people on the set were just like, what is this? We can't use this. So there's that. And then before we get into it, I know we've all agreed that Renesmee is a terrible name. I did see something when I was looking at all of the Renesmee stuff on the internet. Somebody had like a whole Reddit about if you could rename Renesmee, what would you name her?
Okay.
Do you have any ideas? I personally think she should have went with the middle name because Carly is such a better name.
Yeah. Well, even just pick one. Renee, Esme. Yes. Like, just pick one. Who cares?
Yeah. She, a bunch of people were saying Carly would have been a better choice. And also people were really mad at Edward for not just like putting his fucking foot down and being like, this is a dumbass name. We're not doing this.
We're not naming our child this.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That makes me so sad.
Yeah. You know, one suggestion that I thought was a really good one that they could have went with is use Edward's mom's name, which I think was Elizabeth. But like bring his like family into it a little bit.
Yeah, that would be like, nice.
Yeah, I think that would have been a great name.
No,
anyway,
weird,
stupid Renesmee or Nessie, should you want to call her that? I guess.
Yeah. I was glad that they started calling her Nessie in this book because every time I read Renesmee, I was just like, why?
Why? Yes. Okay, one last thing before we get into it.
Okay.
I did post about it on our Instagram already, but there's the 20th anniversary. Books are coming out. I will not be buying them, but they do look pretty. They do look, I like the covers and they do look interesting.
Will you buy a set for your mother?
Oh, no.
She doesn't need more stuff.
She does not need more stuff. Just to be hidden into the cabinet? No.
Yeah, not for $130 or whatever the whole set was. Yeah, I also took that as a sticky note. And
oh, you did?
Yeah, because my sister sent me the day she found it, which was, I think, like a couple days before you posted it. She sent me, she's like, oh, Vanessa could buy this. And I was like, I don't think Vanessa wants this, but thank you.
No, she doesn't. No, I had seen it somewhere else. And then that day that I posted about it on Instagram, I got an email from from Books a Million or whatever it was that was like, guess what, guys? And I was like, please stop bugging me about this. Is it because you want me to promote it? Okay, I'll promote it.
Now give me free things.
Yes. So yeah, so that is there, and they are pretty. I just don't want them.
Yeah,
So.
I'm never gonna read these again. And when all of my shelves get full, and I have to purge books,
These are the first 4.
these are the first 4 that are gonna go.
Fair.
And if I can sell them on wherever I bought the eBay, if I could sell them for what I paid for them,
You won't though, because
glorious
they're all
days.
written in now, aren't they?
I haven't written in them, but I will have to spend like an hour
to
removing
take out all
the sticky notes. Unless
Okay,
somebody wants, maybe I can first put them out there as highly annotated
Yes.
with books with Nicole's thoughts.
That's right.
So famous podcaster thoughts.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to save these books for a couple more years. Maybe I'll get more famous and it'll be worth more.
Okay, great. As our first bonus bites series. Okay, let's I'm gonna say there's probably not gonna be a whole lot to say because like nothing happens in the second half. Literally like nothing happens. So there's most of the post-its that I put in here were just because like I have to say something.
Yeah, I felt like there wasn't a lot of, like, usually I put like a sticky note in there to say like, oh, this is a major milestone. So that way I kind of can keep idea of where me and you are in the book. I only have one milestone.
What is it? The very beginning, vampire. She turns into a vampire.
Yeah, Bella's first hunt. To which underneath the sticky note it says, "I do not care."
Okay. Let's jump in. Okay, so we start off part 2 with all of her changing, all of her like Edward yelling at her and Jacob yelling at her and just like all the things. I will say like my first sticky note is I just wrote weird because when she's Renesmee is handed to her, she says that the impossible face suddenly smiled, a wide deliberate smile. Behind the shell pink lips was a full complement of snowy milk teeth. What?
I have the same sticky note.
It just says weird.
It just says, yeah, like Bella and Edward's baby has a full mouth of teeth already.
Yeah.
Like, that's not weird at all.
Snowy milk teeth? Like what?
Like, it's disturbing.
Yeah,
like
very disturbing.
I just imagine a baby wearing dentures.
That's what I picture.
Like, what is this?
Yes, it's so weird. And then literally on the next page, I put that Bella is very dramatic because she is talking about how Edward has to exist because a world without Edward seems completely pointless. And I was like, oh my God, are you just like the most dramatic person in the world?
Yeah, why does everything have to come back to this? Like,
I don't know.
Edward is a vampire.
Yes.
You will live forever. Don't worry, Bella. You can put that in the bottom of your anxiety list.
Right, exactly. And I don't know. It was just too much, man. It was too much. And all we get for the next however many pages is just how much pain she's in, how much she doesn't want Edward to know that she's in pain.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, like he knows what it feels like to change. He knows that you're in pain. So you not telling him that you can still feel it is not going to change anything.
Yeah,
also
go ahead.
Also like how Carlisle was like super excited to find out if the morphine worked and whatever. Like she says in these pages that she already knew that it didn't work because of when James bit her. So like, why didn't they have this conversation before she went into labor? when Carlisle and Edward were making all these plans about like, oh, we could pump her with morphine and she can blah blah blah, why wasn't she like, hey guys, already did that and I could feel it?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I there's a whole bunch of stuff in this part that I didn't understand. Like, why, like you said, why does she not have like a more like verbal active role in the planning? And then afterwards, why does she just like sit there and like just take it? Like,
right.
Just, you know, like, not that there's, maybe doesn't sound like there's anything she could have done different or anybody could have done anything for her, but like, you know, there's also
her
nothing.
Reasoning behind not saying it was like, I don't want him to know I'm in pain. Like, okay, great. You think it's gonna break his heart because you're in pain? Whatever. Also, I have a sticky note that says the endless explanation. Like, the amount of times that she explains how much it burns, it's like 15 pages of just explaining how much it burns. We get it. We know.
Yeah. So, like, because, like I was saying, I don't really have much in here for, like, you know, like, oh, you know, plot things, right? Because I was just, in this part, I was so irritated with Bella and then, like, you know, Edward and, like, stuff like that. And, like, there's one part where they're like, I have a sticky note that says, why is Edward breathing? Like,
I have the same thing.
Like, again, why? Why is Edward breathing on this page? I thought he didn't breathe. And then
I literally, okay, so here's my next, I have one before that, but yes, that is my next sticky note. It says, no breathing. Of course there isn't, Bella.
Yeah, right. Yes, because, like, he's on, like, page 381. Yeah. Edward is breathing. And then on 385, no breathing.
No breathing.
So earlier Edward was recreationally breathing? Like,
yes. I think the idea is that, like, later on when she's trying to learn how to act human, she kind of mentions that they do things, like, habitually just because they want to be in the habit of, like, being normal to humans. But in a situation like this where they're all completely, like, stressed out and he's worried about her waking up and, like, all the things, I don't think he's thinking about, I need to look normal. So, like, so in that same area, the 380 timeline or whatever, there's a part where Carlisle is telling her that her heart is really strong. Like, they can hear it still beating really strong. So obviously, like, she's not dead. And she said he says it's stronger than Emmett's was. And I was like, okay, why? Why do we care about that? Also, like, was Emmett near death? Like, how close to death was he? I mean, I know they were all, like, close to death when they changed them, but, like, I don't know. That was just a weird whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I maintain that I don't feel like Stephanie does subtle very well. And so her whole, like, oh, it's stronger than Emmett, I was like, is this a way for her to, like try to be sneaky and be like, oh, she's gonna be stronger than Emmett, right? Like, I don't.
That's kind of what I wrote. Foreshadowing question.
Yes,
like,
thank you. Yeah.
And then I have just a weird sentence. So a couple pages later, she says, air hissed up my throat, spitting through the clenched teeth in a low, menacing sound like a swarm of bees. Like a swarm of bees? What the fuck is that?
That's how you sound when you're turning into a vampire, Vanessa. Come on.
Okay, fair. Oh, my bad.
It better be in the movie.
I don't think it is, but okay. All right. So after that, we get her waking up. She's, like, saying hello to everybody. Everyone's kind of, like, on edge. Like, what is she gonna do? Oh, how is she gonna react? And we get that Edward tells her, like, you gotta be a little calmer, ma'am. You're stronger than me right now.
Mm-hmm.
We get that the way he kisses now is very different.
Mm.
He's been holding back. And also, obviously,
Yeah, he doesn't want to break your face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right. That's pretty much everything that happens, I think, before they go out on their hunt, right? Like, just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything else. Basically, like, she wants to see Renesmee, but they're like, you have to go hunt. And she's like, all right, I'll go hunt.
Yeah. I have lots of comments later in the book about her transition into being a vampire,
just
like her post, and how it's just like the easiest thing in the world. But like, I mean, we can get there. So
okay,
but yeah,
all right. So yeah, we're on our hunt, and she's like hunting animals, and then all of a sudden she gets a scent of a human, and glorious Bella is able to withstand the smell of the humans, and not attack Edward. Great.
And everybody's so proud of her.
Everyone's so proud, and Jasper is hurt. Jasper's like, how could she be so perfect?
Which I kind of agree with. Like
I don't agree with how, like, why he's like jealous about it.
Oh, not that, but just
but I do agree with his like just general sentiment of like, how?
Yeah, like, why is this a thing? And like, why they're like, oh, just, it'll take time for him to trust you and blah blah blah. Like, don't take it personally. Like, I think it's, he spent like however long, 100 years or whatever with a whole bunch of newborns. It's like he has more experience around newborns than anybody else in the group probably combined. And everybody's like, oh, Jasper. Like, no, maybe it's time you just listen to Jasper.
Right. Yeah, he's like, this is literally like a 1 out of like 50,000 chance that she's acting like this. So of course I'm like weirded out by it. But he does act jealous, which is weird. I don't love that. I don't love that Edward kind of, or it's Edward making it kind of sound like that, where Jasper is like upset that he had such a hard time and she's not. So I've got a sticky note that says, oh, she's perfect. And then on the next page it says, oh, she's still perfect.
Yeah.
Just more perfectness.
Yeah. Minus I have one sticky note that all I wrote was eye roll. And it was just because, like, the only thing that you're good at is loving Edward. Like, have some self-respect. Like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
You can do more than one thing. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are you at? What page are we on?
Like, I'm on 442. That's my next sticky note.
Perfect. My next one is just 2 pages later. So
yeah, it's just all this general area is just like, man, I just do not care about Bella's abilities. Like, I am, by the time we get to this book and Bella's just going through it like a breeze and blah blah blah, like, I just don't care.
No. It's also like, I think if she would have had any kind of problem, that it would have made it feel like not relatable, because like I can't relate to her turning into a vampire, but like it feels like it would have been something at least, right? Like just to make it completely easy for her and perfect and like she's amazing and like all of that. Like you didn't give her anything to fight against.
Yeah. And my working theory, I guess, behind that is Stephanie, which I thank her for, but like she didn't want to have to draw the book out longer. So the easiest thing to do, right, is to say, oh,
she's
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing affects Bella like the rest of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's
we can move on with the story faster, right?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Don't have to spend a year with Bella running around the wild trying to rip people's throats off and Edward chasing her trying to calm her down.
That's true. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the next part is when they finally let her, she gets back from hunting and they finally let her meet Renesmee. And I wrote, my sticky note says, obviously, because she says, Renesmee seems oblivious to the coolness of my skin, or at least very used to it. Yeah, bro, you've been out of it for like 3 days or whatever it's all already, and she's been around a bunch of vampires. What do you think that she... Obviously, she's used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then while she's meeting Renesmee and all that, she finds out that Jacob has imprinted on Nessie. And
I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't understand why she gets so mad.
Yeah, I think it's almost like she gets mad in that specific moment because Jacob tries to make it sound like he's protecting her, and Bella's like, hey, remember she's my daughter, right? Like, she doesn't belong to you. So I get that part of her anger, but just the general fact that he imprinted on her does not compute as to why she's so mad.
Yeah, because on top of that, Jacob is not the only one like edgy about her meeting Renesmee for the first time, right? So it's not like he's the only one stepping in front or like restraining or tensing up when she gets nearby or whatever. So yeah, I don't understand why she gets so upset, and I don't. It's not, and I mean, she brings it up a couple times later on too, like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to get used to it. You could get used to this or whatever. I mean, Stephanie made it very clear in the book that it wasn't necessarily about, romantic,
like romance.
Yeah, romance. It was just about,
wanting whatever is best for them and like wanting to protect them and be there for them in whatever capacity they need, right? I do like how he explains on it's 451 is where I'm at, just like telling Bella like, hey, remember how much you wanted to be around me and how much like you thought that we were drawn to each other? Actually, it wasn't me and you that were drawn to each other. It was her the whole time.
That's also where the first time he calls her Nessie.
And she freaks out. And then also in this same areas where we find out that Renesmee is not venomous, that she does not have the same vampire venom that the vampires have. So,
which answers a question from I think that I had last.
Oh, you did?
The last book, because I think in the last part of the book, she does
she bites her.
She bites her, and I was, why is she not already a vampire? And so yeah, she's not
venomous. Okay, I feel like my next post-it it doesn't matter. It's just stupid. Like, all of this part is just her, like, I hear her, like, she says this one part where she says that she had another human memory of, like, Edward telling her about Jasper and blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you mean another human memory? You act like you were a human, like, 100 years ago. Bro, you were a human last week. So, like, why are you referencing it as like, oh, I had a human memory?
It's because it was so low definition.
Oh, I see. That's right. So it's like a shock that she could remember it because it wasn't like, okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, it's like spending your whole life watching movies in like 4K and then having to watch it on like a computer screen,
like from like the 80s.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, this part I have like a huge problem with Edward. Right after the whole Nessie thing, like literally the next page, that's why I bring it up, is I have a huge problem with Edward, and I know I brought this up earlier, is Edward keeps telling her, like, it's okay, you know, you're doing so well, you're making mistakes, like, stop saying that to her. Like, you're so worried about her not attacking Renesmee, you're so worried about her and other people, but it's okay that she attacks Jacob, and it's okay that she hurt Seth. Like,
right.
That is
exactly.
That's not. No.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like everyone it's like they go back and forth between like, oh my god, she's doing so great, and then like, oh my god, it's okay, like it's acceptable that you like freak out on them or you like did whatever
made a
to
mistake,
them.
Or,
Like okay. So I think the next part is when she gets a gift. That's when they take her out to the cottage. It's like this whole like section right here, right after she meets Renesmee and yells at Jacob. They give her the cottage. Which, okay.
Yeah, what page is that starting on?
475 is when they get out to the cottage.
Right. Yeah, so I guess I only have like a couple more things to say about the whole annoying, like, of Bella being a new vampire. Is this kind of goes back to like my last one. She on like one page, like let's call it 451, she's like, I'm gonna kill Jacob, it's okay to hurt Jacob, and then like 4 pages later she's like, oh, I love Jacob. I'm such a monster.
She's very quick with her change of feelings.
Yeah. And then the next page, she's like, I'm going to take Nessie away from Jacob because I want to cause Jacob pain. What?
She's literally can't make up her mind. She has some mental problems here.
Yeah, she just pick a lane. Like, if you want to be mad at him, fine, be mad at him. If you want to not be mad at him, fine. But stick to your guns. She's being unreasonable. Okay, you said we're in the 470s now?
Yeah, so 475 is when they get to the clearing in the forest where a tiny stone cottage.
Yeah. It's a nice gesture. Once again, Esme being a really nice person who I don't think gets a lot of like screen time or book-based time or credit for just being her own person. And thoughtful. But other than that, like, I thought this part of the book was boring, minus good, great. Now Bella gets her vampire sex now.
She gets vampire sex, that's right. Where they don't have to stop or sleep or do anything. I feel like that's literally all this is. I do so there is one part so she asks, like, do you miss how I feel as a human, basically? And he's like, do you remember the scent of the humans on the hike? Try kissing that. And I was like, oh, that was a good way to put it for her. Like, no, I don't miss you being human. Of course not. Which makes me feel like, why did he not want her to be human earlier? I get the whole soul thing or whatever, but like, you still chose to be with her.
Right.
So like, you chose to just kiss that scent?
It's just inconsistencies throughout like the whole book, right? Like the whole series.
So the next thing I have is I don't have anything again until we get to the part where Jacob comes back and says that he told Charlie and he phased in front of him, which, wild.
Yes. Like, all of a sudden we're just like, fuck it. Yeah. Everybody knows now.
I feel like this is such a massive jump, which, okay, he literally could not tell Bella because, I wonder if the only difference is now that he's alpha. he can like make that choice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so it just hit me because this whole time I was thinking like you were trying to follow the rules. Like before, you literally couldn't even tell Bella. She had to guess it on her own. And all of a sudden, you're just like, hey, Charlie, stand right there and watch what happens.
Right.
Yeah. So now Charlie knows everything. Well, everything to a point.
Right. Yeah. And I honestly think there probably wasn't. I mean, this was the quickest, most, all right, Charlie, you're going to figure this out, you know? Like, I mean, I'm glad it happened. If, you know, if all these people were real people, I'm glad Charlie got to meet his granddaughter.
Yes, exactly.
But I also don't see the purpose of it.
I think the only purpose really is that Charlie was going to keep asking questions and they were running out of things to tell him other than like, oh, she's still gone, you know, and I feel like that was the only real reason, is just that Charlie was relentless in his like daily questioning.
Right, which I get 100% understand that, but like, what about Renee?
Apparently she's not calling enough.
Because like before in the other books, Renee emailed her all the time, was calling, they had conversations. So is she just having calls and emails with Renee where she's just like, everything's great, and anytime Renee's like, you should come for a visit, or maybe I'll come visit you, she's like, oh no, super busy.
It's fine. Yeah, and exactly.
What happens in 10 years?
Right. I feel like Charlie, they like forced it because of proximity, just because he lived right there and probably was afraid that he was just gonna like show up at the Colin's house or something. That could be like the only thing that I can think of.
And I, like I said, still get it, 100% understand. Don't want Charlie, but they could have just not talked about Charlie the rest of this book, because the rest of this book happens in like a month. Yeah,
and he's not a part of it.
Just don't talk about. They could have chopped the book. She could have chopped the book down, not talked about Charlie, not talked about Renee anymore. Just kind of made an offhand comment. Was, we will deal with this after
the Volturi are gone.
The Italians, right? Yes, and then we. People in the book, reading the books, would have never known any differently. We would just, but this is just.
Well, either way, I do like that Charlie knows. I do think it's funny that Jacob phased in front of him.
Oh, yes.
I like that that's how he finds out. But so in the next part in all of this, when Jacob is like explaining, like, I showed him, he's gonna come over, blah blah blah, he says his main request is to be told as little as possible. How convenient for you, Bella.
Once again, see, this is why part of me is just like, this is all for convenience to answer questions that she thinks readers are gonna have. This isn't.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah. Agreed. So the whole next little piece is them teaching her how to be a human, and like getting her ready and cross your legs and blink your eyes and blah blah blah. And then Charlie shows up, and this part is like, he meets her and he's like, cool, don't explain anything to me, it doesn't make sense, but I'm with it. And then he's like, hey, the football game is on. And then goes and watches the game and just like, okay, why?
Yeah,
I don't.
Maybe to try and think, oh, boys will be boys. All they care about is football, or that's their safe place. That's their safe place, right?
Right. Yes, it's weird. And they went with the whole. So they told him that it was like an adoption, but then immediately was like, oh yeah, she looks like you, Bella, but looks more like Edward. So like, immediately was like, oh, she looks like both of you, but she was adopted. Don't ask questions. Like, it's just so weird. And she's also named after all of our parents.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah, it's weird how that worked out.
Yeah. Man.
Okay, so the next little piece, Charlie leaves, blah blah blah, and then she has the arm wrestling with Emmett, which in the book is pretty terrible. In the movie, it's actually kind of cute. Okay. I will say that. Yeah, watching them wrestle and fight and all that is actually, I enjoy it in the movie.
Nice.
But in the book, who fucking cares? It's like a little blip, and then Renesmee thinks it's funny that her mom crushes rocks.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't have anything again until a long time.
I think the next thing I have is like when the Volturi or Aro
are gonna come.
Yeah, sends her that note, or
yes.
I look forward to meeting the new Mrs. Collins.
What page is that?
530.
Oh, I don't have another thing until 545.
Okay. I think, the only thing that I have is whatever. I get why she did it, but like, I don't know. It's just like this whole thing about Alice not being able to see things.
Yeah.
Is annoying to me.
Yeah.
Because it's another convenience thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, Lawrence, all these vampires are now showing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the next one, that right after all that part that you were just talking about, that's when Alice sees that the Volturi are coming, and Edward sees it at the same time, obviously in her head, and basically they're just like, okay, well, they're coming, we got to prep for this. And then Jacob says, cool, if they're coming, the wolves are in. Obviously the wolves are in. And then the next post-it I have is Alice leaves her a note that says, I'm leaving. So what were your initial thoughts at that? So for me, I can't remember back to the first time I read this, but I feel like that was supposed to be like a big shocker. Did you immediately be like, oh, she's coming back? Or were you like, damn, Alice, bye?
No, I assumed she would come back.
Okay.
I didn't know when, and I didn't, but, Alice has been pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
with her loyalty and like her love of Bella and like all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to skip around a little bit, I think, here, in that the letter kind of leads to her finding that note in the book, which leads to her going to Seattle to get the passports and stuff like that. That whole storyline is so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I like, what? I feel like those are my only words for that.
Yeah, the whole part of the book where they're like preparing for the Volturi to come, everybody splits up to go find more people. Like Carlisle leaves and then Bella like finds a way to leave Edward and go, like you said, get the passport and stuff like that, so she can let Jacob and Renesmee leave together. Like, that whole, all of that is just, it was boring. It was stupid. It was like, why does Alice and Jasper have, I guess it makes sense that they would need to have somebody to go to get like fake passports and stuff. Cause when you're 100 years old, I feel like obviously you're going to need some paperwork and documentation. So like that part, I guess, makes sense. But like, I don't know, if Alice can't see things, why was her immediate thing was like, oh, Bella's going to need paperwork for Nessie and Jacob? Yeah, I felt like it was just more Stephanie trying to cast doubt, or
on Alice?
No, just like how the book is gonna end.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like, she just didn't want you to assume that, oh, it'll be okay, it's gonna be a happily ever after, you know, blah blah blah. I felt like it was more of a how can I cast doubt that the littlest bit that, you know, they might not make it through.
Okay.
I'll make it so, you know, they start preparing like they're not, right?
Okay.
So
all right,
that's
fair.
kind of what I felt. But
yeah, that's fair. But so in all of this part 2, so literally I have like, how many pages is this? Like 50 pages. I don't have anything. And it's because it's just literally all the vampires coming in, like all of that part of them practicing her being a shield, like all of that is just so nothing. It's literally just nothing. Like, it's meeting so many new characters and finding out about so many new abilities in the final quarter of the 4th book of a series. Like, this is not when I should be meeting all of these new people and new abilities.
45 new vampires. Like, okay, thanks.
Yeah. And now the book is done. It was just like, I don't know. I get it. I get what they were doing. They were trying to make sure everybody was ready. They were going to make sure everybody was like ready to go against the Volturi and witness and blah, blah, blah. Like all of that. I get it. But it's so boring. It's 50 pages of nothing for me. 50 pages of nothing.
Yeah. I did have like all this is happening. Like he said, like they're preparing to fight. And of course, Edward is a giant boob where he refuses to teach Bella how to fight.
I know.
What? Are you fucking serious?
Because, what did he say? It was because he can't stand to like see her in that sense or whatever. Like, isn't that kind of what his vibe was? Like, I can't look in you. I can't look at you and think of like the best ways to kill you or whatever. Just like, okay, she's
starting from nothing. You don't even have to think like that, but just even just thinking of like, what is some self-defense that you could teach a loved one to keep them from being hurt?
Yeah.
Start there. And then all the other vampires can still help at it, but to flat out be like, no.
Yep.
I'm not going
to help you. So look at all these other vampires here that can help you.
Yeah, you fucking boob.
Yep. He is a boob. You're right. So my only bullet in between the last one, or my only post-it in between the last one I told you about and the one where the Volturi show up is that she names them Jacob and Vanessa Wolf. Like, so creative. That's great. All right. Anyway, so yeah, literally the next thing I have. Okay, let me tell you. Immediately off the bat, when the Volturi show up, and there is literally like 70 pages left in the book, you know shit ain't gonna happen. Like that, the biggest climax of the book is the Volturi showing up. This is what you've been gearing for this whole time. You've been afraid of them coming since the new moon. And now they're here. And there's 70 pages left.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
This is going to be
nothing. It's
like
nothing.
Every other book where everybody just talks and that's it. Right?
Yeah. Literally in that whole end of the book, I have two post-its. Let me see what they are. One is the wolves joined us. and there's more of them now than there was before. And my other post-it is They aren't even werewolves. They're shapeshifters.
Surprise.
The end. That is literally the only 2 post-its that I felt necessary during that time.
Yeah.
I guess I should have put in there that like a person like Renesmee showed up, but like I didn't care.
Yeah. It's the same. Like the whole thing when they're there, like poor Esme, she does not get much of a role in these books again.
She does not.
During the whole fight, she gets like one role. Well, talk.
Yeah.
And it's when Edward starts to like walk towards them, she whimpers from behind. Like she's a big, like they make her out to be the wimpiest vampire.
Yeah.
Like, why? Because she has empathy and because she is like a mother figure. Like,
yep, exactly.
I don't know.
She's probably the biggest badass of them all.
Right. Like what is it they say? Like women who like see their children stuck under cars can like flip cars to like,
exactly.
She sees her child and she's like, oh, like no, she bite his hair head off. She's like,
yeah, exactly.
Who's gonna stop her? What is her power, by the way?
I don't think she has one.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. She just
empathy. That's her power.
She just gets like the short end of the stick over and over and over in this book, and I'm really disappointed in Stephanie about this. Like, why do you have to put so little into somebody who could have like a much more profound role in this book?
Yep, agreed.
Or like a positive figure, or you know, like something. Instead, it's the interesting ones like Alice and the other one.
Like who else?
The one that hates her. So
Rosalie.
Thank you. Yeah. But
Esme doesn't get anything here. You're right.
And then it's just all Bella being a badass,
blocking
without
everybody.
Having to try. There's no vampire fight.
Yeah, she can extend her shield everywhere she wants and make it like a glove around them. She literally is just perfect, no problems. She's great. All the things. Yeah. So them being shapeshifters and not werewolves. What a thing to pull out in the last like 30 pages of the book.
Yeah.
Of the whole series.
So we can get some closure.
Yeah, it's so weird to me. Do you have any other tidbits?
No. Just I'm gonna see here. Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, I do feel bad for how do you pronounce his name? Nahuel? Nahuel?
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
He has a sad backstory too.
He does. He does have a sad backstory and like has so much guilt over his mom and like that's I wish we could have got more of him. Like more of his story and like how he like not just like I was born of human and vampire and I am now 100 and something years old, like okay,
this is what your daughter could be.
Yeah, we could have got so much more because he seemed like such an interesting character. And instead of him talking, like, why did it was his aunt or something that was talking, right? Like, she told everything. Like, let him talk.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. So that, it just ends with us finding out about him and being like, oh, yeah, Renesmee is immortal, but not
she'll stop
venomous.
Growing eventually.
Yeah, she'll stop growing at, like, I don't know, 15 years or 7 years or something like that. And then she'll just be grown, so Jacob doesn't have to wait very long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then once again, that's just more convenience, right? Like, how do we get Renesmee Nessie to the point where she can have an active role in the book in such a short book? Oh, we'll expedite, but we don't want her to die in like 7 years, so we'll bring in another vampire who's done the same thing.
Yes.
And he can tell them that it'll be okay.
Right. I don't know. If I had to just give a rating to the second half of this book, it would be like a 1. But overall, this book, Breaking Dawn, from start to finish, I would say I might give it like a 2.5.
Yeah, same. It's probably in my opinion, the best out of all of them.
Okay.
The 4, but
really?
I guess I can't really think of. I did not like book 1. Book 2 is terrible. book 1 for me for sure would be the top one. Really?
Yeah.
Book I don't 1. Know. Maybe Eclipse. I don't know.
Okay. I think Twilight's my number 1. Breaking Dawn might be my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe New Moon. Honestly, I kind of like New Moon just because of like the Jacob Bella friendship there. I find like that one's all right. Breaking Dawn was just boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To quote my sister, it was a nothing burger.
There you go. Yeah, I feel like if Stephanie would have just taken out all the fluffiness of all 4 books and combined them and to make like maybe 2 books, I probably wouldn't have been so harsh.
Agreed.
But book 1 and book 2, just the constant, endless insight into Bella's whininess and stuff like that really ruined the series for me.
I wonder if instead of Twilight, if we should have read Midnight Sun as the first book, because then you'd get the same book, but you'd get it from Edward's point of view. Then you got into New Moon, you'd probably be like, fuck Bella. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, that happened anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. But I wonder how you would have felt. I won't make you read it, but
yeah.
Maybe one day I'll like pay you to read it.
Yeah, I always say things like, maybe I'll read it just to see what it's like, but I could see that being a book that I DNF.
Oh, for sure. Maybe you could read like 3 chapters.
Maybe. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I have it. It's right here.
No, maybe I'll. Oh man. Maybe give me a break from it.
No, yeah, for sure. I'll ask you in like October.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, well, that concludes our Twilight discussions.
Yay.
I will make you watch the movie, but then that's it. At least that's only like another hour and a half of your life.
I accept this.
Okay, great. So before we close out, do you want to tell the people what book we're going to do for April 1st?
Yes, I would love to. I'd turn around and look at which book I wanted.
Okay. Hopefully it's the one I grabbed.
Yes, I have been saving Where the Library Hides because I have chosen What the River Knows.
Yay! And look at how beautiful this one is.
I know. The covers are so gorgeous.
Yes, they are. So What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Please read it with us. We will be doing probably recording the final week of March. So if you have any thoughts or feelings or anything about the book before that, send us an email. Go to savorthestorypod.com and go to the contact form, send us an email, and then we will be posting our full breakdown of it on April 1st. And this is one Nicole has read What the River Knows, but I have not. Vanessa, have not read this. So it's a full going in blind. And then neither of us have read book 2. So, but yeah, so it's going to be a full blind one for me.
Yes. I know. I'm really excited for this.
Yes.
Well, even so, the second book I've had on the shelf for a while now, and this is how dedicated I am. My sister keeps asking me, like, hey, what do you want to read? She's asked me maybe twice, like, hey, do you want to do this book or no, one time it was, hey, do you want to do this as sister book club? And I was like, nope, I cannot. And then she's like, hey, a couple weeks later, she's like, hey, I'm going to start this. Do you want to read it with me? And I was like, no, I cannot.
No.
So, yeah, I've been pushing it off, reading it with my sister. I keep telling her, I'll read it in March with you.
Yes, exactly.
She's like, I'm tired of asking you.
Dang it. Well, now you could talk to her about it as soon as we get there. But please read it with us and tell us your thoughts and feelings about it. And that's it.
I'm really excited about this one. So I hope everybody reads it.
Yes. So this will be our April and May. And then in our May episode, we'll tell you whatever our next one is. I'm thinking I want to do something that neither of us have read. Like start off, do something that's like blind for both of us, which is a scary thing to do, but we'll talk about it later.
All right.
So yes, What the River Knows, read it. In the meantime, go to our socials and give us love, and go to YouTube and Spotify and all the places and give us 5 stars and thumbs ups and comments and show us some love. And that's it.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.